Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my TBR. Throughout these past few years, I have taken up the hobby of reading, and I absolutely love reading, but it is kind of hard to get through certain books. These are some of the books I have read. I did finish this trilogy, I just don't have the third one because I borrowed it from my friend. Out of all the books I own, these are the books that I've read through and completed. Obviously, I've borrowed books from people, I've gone to the library and borrowed books, but these are the ones that I own right now. And in this pile, this is my TBR. TBR! This is my TBR, just so you can see. I have the books I've read, and then these two piles are the books that I haven't read yet or finished. So I think it's only fair to start with the books that I DNF'd, and then I can read the books that I didn't even start yet, because I need to finish those ones first, you know? These are my DNFs right here, and I don't think I DNF'd any of them because I didn't like them. I think I was just new to reading, and I didn't really know what I liked at the time, so I was just kind of starting books, and then when I got bored, I would just give up on them. So, I'm going to pick 3 or 4 of them to finish, so that I can start reading the new ones, and I can buy more, because there are so many series I keep seeing on Book Talk that I want to buy so bad, but I can't because then I'll never get through these books. So let's decide. Since it is the end of September and we're going into October, which means prime fall, I wanted to finish The Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter. I loved the first Harry Potter book, and I love this book so far. It's super cute. It's hard because I already know what's going to happen, but I know there's so much more to these books than there are in the movies, so I'm going to finish this. The second book I chose is Cruel Prince by Holly Black. It gives very much fall vibes. I honestly haven't seen much about this on TikTok. I've seen a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it gets pretty good, so I'm excited to see what happens. And then the last book from my TBR here, I think is going to have to, I don't know, because there are books I really want to finish, like We Were Liars, but that's so summer. It feels so summer to me. This book, there is actually a movie coming out about this book, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but I'm going to finish The Housemaid. I'm only on chapter 3 because I actually started this a few days ago, but it was really interesting, and the trailer for the movie looks really good, and I love reading books before I watch the movies. I did that with Hunger Games, and it was so good. So, I'm going to do it with this one. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to love it. There is going to be a 4th book on my TBR, which is the book that I'm currently reading, which is Nightbane by Alex Astor. I recently finished Lightlark, and I loved that book. I loved Lightlark so much. Honestly, I don't see a lot of good things about Lightlark on TikTok and on social media, which is crazy to me because that book is really good. But anyways, I'm currently reading Nightbane, which is the second one, and I'm loving it so far. I'm excited to see what happens. The bookmark actually just fell out, so that's, I don't really know where it was, but I'll figure it out. These are my final 4 that I picked for this video's TBR. I'm super excited. I feel like they all give fall vibes. This one's a little bit more spooky, so I might save it for closer to Halloween or something. I don't know. But I'm really excited to read these. So yeah, let's get into the reading. Good morning, guys. It is currently the next day. It's day 2 of reading my TBR. I started on page 111 and I got to page 196. This book did start out kind of slow. I feel like, much like the first one, they both kind of start out a little bit slow because I feel like she's setting everything up. And then once you hit like 1/3 through the book, it starts speeding up a lot, which was happening last night. It was getting so good. Okay? Without giving too much away, I feel like Lightlark kind of leaves you with some unanswered questions and like open plot holes, if that makes sense. And in Nightbane so far, she's done a really good job at like answering those questions, because I think that's what the book is about. She's basically dealing with what's happening in the present, and also your questions are getting answered as you read it. If that makes sense, you just have to read them. But so far, this book was really fun to read, and this book has been really fun to read too. Last night while I was reading this, I was actually thinking about how fun it would be to have all these questions answered and then go back and read this book again, knowing what I know from this book, because I feel like that adds so much to the story, if that makes sense. But I'm going to continue to read this, and hopefully I can finish it in the next 2 days, because I want to get to my next books too. Good morning, guys. So I'm going to say it's my 3rd or 4th day reading Nightbane, and I am happy to say that I finished this book last night. I finally finished it, and now I'm super excited to talk about it. I'm going to talk about Lightlark and Nightbane as a duology, because I feel like, obviously, if you're going to read any book in a series, you have to read the first one before you read the second one. And I feel like that's truly apparent in these books. But I feel like it also would be interesting to read this book, knowing what you know from this book, and then reading this book, because this book fills a lot of the plot holes that this book had. One reason I see people DNF Lightlark is because of all the plot holes that she puts in the books. And for me, that was one of the reasons I wanted to keep reading, because I was waiting for her to answer those questions, and she wasn't. So then at the end of the book, when she gives us that crazy plot twist, I was like, okay, I need to see what's up with this. I need to read the second one. And it's safe to say that this book definitely fills up most of the plot holes that you are given in Lightlark. Okay? If you DNF'd this book and you're into fantasy romance, I'm telling you, finish this book and read Nightbane, because Nightbane is so good. Okay? So good. I did love this book. I think I liked it a little bit better than I liked Lightlark, but I think that's pretty common with this series. There is a love triangle in this series, and in the first book, I feel like it's definitely apparent which side you're on. Like, you're either on Grimm's side or you're on Oro's side. And I had my pick. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it. This is who I think she should end up with. But reading Nightbane, literally every other chapter, I was switching sides. This book definitely had a lot of spice. Not a ton, but especially if you're younger, just beware. Just beware, okay? I have the rest of my TBR, and we have 3 books left: The Housemaid, The Cruel Prince, and Harry Potter. So I've been doing some thinking, actually, and I was gonna pick The Cruel Prince just because I love fantasy romance. Fantasy romance is definitely one of my favorite genres, and I'm honestly not so far into this book, and I DNF'd it because I got bored, but I feel like I just need to give it a little bit to, like, start up, if that makes sense. So I was gonna pick Cruel Prince, but then I was like, I need to take a break from fantasy romance. I just read Lightlark and Nightbane. That's 2 fantasy romances in a row. I need some of the real world. So with that being said, the second book I'm going to be reading in this video is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I'm on chapter 12 in this book, so I have about this much left, which isn't too much. I'm honestly super excited to finish this, because reading this recently, I started it at the beginning of the year. There is so much that you miss in the movies. I don't know why I stopped reading it. I think I just kind of wasn't in the reading mood. Actually, one of the main reasons I got back into reading recently was reading Lightlark. I saw TikTok about it, and I had it on my shelf just waiting, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start that book. And now I just want to read all the time, so I'm gonna be reading Chamber of Secrets. It is day 3 of reading the Chamber of Secrets. There's like pencil on this. I'm literally on the last chapter. I was falling asleep while I was reading it last night, so I only have like 20 pages left. So I'm gonna get to reading those. Finally, after like a 3-year journey of reading this book, I finished it. Let's go. I love the Harry Potter movies. That's why I wanted to get into the books. Each of the Harry Potter books follow Harry and his two friends, Ron and Hermione. But this one specifically follows them on an adventure when, basically without spoiling anything, if you haven't seen the movies or read the books, something comes to Hogwarts and starts causing problems at the school. So Harry and his friends take it upon themselves to figure out what is happening. And it's a really cute story. I would definitely recommend reading these. As you saw in the clip before, I finished The Chamber of Secrets. That was actually a few days ago. Basically, I got a job and it's been very chaotic and I haven't had time to read. So that's why it's taken me a few days to get back to you guys. And you wouldn't know that unless I told you, so you're welcome. We only have 2 books left for this video. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black and The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I think I'm going to read The Cruel Prince next because I keep seeing TikToks about it and I want to read it so bad. And I actually made a TikTok about it. Go follow my TikTok, go follow my book talk, go follow my book talk. Okay, anyways. So yeah, I keep seeing stuff about it and I cannot stop thinking about Lightlark and just like that vibe that fantasy romances give. So I want to read this because I'm pretty sure it's another fantasy romance. I'm super excited to read it. I probably won't start reading it until tomorrow because I have to wake up early for work and I want to get good sleep. So yeah. Ignore the mess back there and ignore how crazy I look. But I got home and I'm finally able to start The Cruel Prince. So I'm so excited. Hey guys. It is day 2 of reading The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. So I actually made it to chapter 12. As you can see. I started on chapter 3, I think. But I was reading it and I was so confused. I was confused on how everybody was related, who all these people were. So I went back and I started from the beginning. So I got to chapter 12, which is about like 1/3 of the way through. Basically, so far this book is just about the main character named Jude, who kind of has a very, very drastic life change in the beginning of the book. And this is just her story kind of dealing with that, showing you what her life is like now. I'm trying to tell you without giving too much away, but it's very interesting actually. I like it so far, and I'm pretty sure there's a love interest, enemies to lovers vibe coming in from what I'm getting. Good afternoon, guys. So I finished The Cruel Prince by Holly Black today. Today was my free day in between 2 work days, so I decided that I would spend it by reading. I started reading at like 11 o'clock in the morning and I finished this book at like 4:30, which isn't bad. But I started on page like 107, 108, and I think there's like 370 pages, and I started on 108. So like I was a little bit below halfway when I started it, but I finished it. So let's talk about it. This book. So this honestly wasn't what I expected at all. I actually expected more romance, and there really wasn't that much romance in this book. There was a lot of like laying out of the plot in this book, and I feel like there wasn't a lot of interaction, like talking interaction between the characters throughout this book, which I don't mind, but like I sort of kind of started to find myself skipping over like sentences just to try to get to like something that interested me during the story, if that makes sense. Not that it's a bad book. It was very interesting. It has a very good plot. I was just like struggling to get into it, if that makes sense. Okay, the last book of my TBR video, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I'm starting this on chapter 3. I started this book not too long ago, so I'm actually excited to get into it. And recently I was talking to my mom's friend at her work, and she said that she stayed up all night, read this whole book in one night. So I'm going to start it now. I have to wake up early for work tomorrow, so hopefully I don't get too invested and stay up too late. But I'm going to start reading it now, and I'm excited. Okay, after weeks and weeks and weeks of reading this, I finally finished The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This book is just basically about a girl who's homeless and she needs a job. She needs a place to live, so she decides to be a nanny for this family, and the family ends up being pretty strange, and so she's just telling her story throughout that. And it was super good. Okay, it's super good, and there's a movie coming out about it in December. I'm so excited, and I definitely would recommend it. So, yeah. And with that being said, my TBR is finished. Not all of it, just like 4 books from it, but it's okay. If you enjoyed this video, or you enjoyed my last video, I look bald, let me know what else you'd like to see, and subscribe, and follow my TikTok, follow my Instagram. I'll see you next video.